Hello. Unfortunately, I can't give you living creatures because I'm a computer scientist at the Australian National University. I moved to from Germany to Australia as a postdoc. I was meant to stay for a maximum of 2 years. That was 2010. And I stayed. Partly because I really like riding my bike in Canberra, but definitely because I found somebody who said yes a couple of weeks ago. My German accent is much milder now, so luckily she understood what I asked when I asked the question. Having a strong German accent isn't actually too bad. People always think I love rules, I'm totally organized, and they would never expect that this is a mess on my desk. It's produced by me. I tell everybody Tony is to blame for that. I have not talked to you about my research yet. As I said, I'm a computer scientist. In my day-to-day job, I analyze software systems. When you think about software systems, you usually think about some cool computer games, maybe some fancy programming language and coding, or maybe just this one more thing we are all waiting for. When I'm thinking about software systems, I think about the following. So Dave is probably just panicking in the back now. No, I'm thinking about problems of computer systems. I think about what happens if you get a blue screen in an airplane. I think about what happens if a rocket is brought down by a software error, and so on. You know, we all use software every day, and it's not insignificant. Errors in software systems are called bugs. So literally, I'm a bug catcher. But my net is not made out of strings. It's made from mathematics. And my bugs are not alive. They're these nasty little blue screens we've seen before. So my day-to-day job roughly looks like that. I'm in particular interested in looking at how computer systems talk to each other. For example, I've discovered that there's a problem in one particular type of emergency service communication. And I want to talk about that a bit more. So let's assume I want to call Tony to finally ask him to clean up the mess on my desk. I would pick up my mobile phone, I would dial his number, the signal would go to the next tower, maybe from tower to tower, maybe through some cables, and it would finally reach Tony. And hopefully, Tony is happy to hear from me. But actually, what would happen if the towers were destroyed? Either by an earthquake, and yes, we do have earthquakes in Canberra, or by bushfires, or by an elite squad of magpies bringing down the towers. Well, then everything would go to quiet. No communication whatsoever. No emergency communication. So chaos. A couple of years back, a couple of people thought about a brilliant solution. What if we forget about these towers, and in case of an emergency, we just put little computers, little boxes in the field? Not one, definitely not two, but at least 13. Brilliant idea, simple idea. But how on earth would these boxes communicate with each other? Well, they have to identify each other. They have to talk to each other. So how would that work? The idea is simple again. What if 2 or 13 computers could just play a telephone game? You might know this game as Chinese whispers. Maybe then they are able to find their neighbors. Maybe they are able to find Tobani. So just imagine they want to talk to each other, or I want to talk to you. Well, I would just lean over and maybe whisper, "Hey, I'm Peter. Are you Tony? And if you're not Tony, do you know Tony?" And most likely they are not Tony, so they will ask their neighbors as well. "Hey, I'm whatever. Are you Tony?" And so on and so forth. Well, actually, I was totally lying to you. Computers never ever say, "Hey, I'm Peter, are you Tony?" What they actually say is, "Hey, I'm E60032DEC741. Are you 8A3F1DB798? And obviously we do science and technology. Nobody calls this Chinese whispers. We actually call it AODV, Advanced On-Demand Distance Routing, a vector routing protocol. Fancy word for the same stuff. But actually I don't call it this way. I always call it always off, doesn't verify. Because it does not work. And that's where my bug finding capacities came into play. The beginning was really easy. I just had to read the specification. Well, since it was part of a larger specification of wireless communication, I thought I'd read the entire standard. It's roughly about 2,785 pages long. That's about the length of the first 5 Harry Potter books. And believe me, it's at least as exciting as that. The other thing I struggled with is, as you know, English is not my mother tongue. And I'm sure that was the reason why I couldn't understand the specification. But I give you another example. A couple of years ago, I was walking along a beach in Sydney, and I came across a sign. It said, "If your dog does a poo, please put it in a litter bin." So I thought, hey, I want to keep the space clean, so I follow it. So you see, formalizing protocols written in English specification isn't easy. It actually is damn hard from time to time. What we did is actually, we used mathematics to avoid all these ambiguities. And we also found an issue with these Chinese whispers. When we analyzed the protocol, we found something that meant that computers could talk in cycles, something like this. First computer asked, "Hey, do you know Toby?" The other one says, "No, do you know Toby?" First one, "No, do you know Toby?" Well, you can imagine that's not really what's intended. And poor Toby is standing on the sideline waiting for my communication. As I said, we used mathematics for this, and it roughly looked like that. And I know it's a bunch of weird symbols, and geeks like me get far too excited about these things. But in fact, we also had to create a bit of new mathematics to do this. And hopefully, you now understand everything, where the problems lies, and so on. No, just joking. I hope you understand why my work helps to make Tony happy, and why my desk is finally clean again. Thank you.